Good morning, everyone. I'm Derek Shakey with the Collector Car Network, and I am here at the FCCS, the Future Collector Car Show that is part of the Barrett-Jackson auction. If you're not familiar with the FCCS, it is a family-friendly event that showcases and celebrates cars from 1980 and on. So there's a little bit of everything here. There's exotics, European cars, Asian imports, and even some later model American cars. I am joined by the owner of this 1992 Saab 900S, Brett Frantzen.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for doing this for me.
Yeah. So I wanted to, before we get into the car, I just wanted to ask you what your history with Saab, if any, you had before this car. Sure. Were you always a Saab guy?
Yeah, back in the 80s, I'm from a small town in upstate New York, so we had a small Saab dealership, and it was just such a cool car to have back in the day. A lot of people either had Saabs or Volvos, and again, they're just unique, and we just like the car, like the brand. So I always kind of grew up with them, and then got a midlife crisis itch, and then I purchased this.
So this is the first Saab you've owned, then?
Actually, this would be my second. I had a 94 9000S SE, which I only had probably 2 years. Then I just gave that up and got something else, but this is my first classic Saab that I bought.
Okay, and so how did you discover that this was for sale? Did a friend tell you about it, or was it online?
So we have a network it's called Saab Network. It's kind of like a Craigslist of Saabs that people post, and just was kind of going through and looking at different models and makes and options, and this was probably the best that appealed to me. It had the color that I like. The interior, I always liked tan interiors in Saabs. Didn't mind that it was a 4-door. This is a naturally aspirated vehicle. It's not turboed, which it still has a lot of horsepower. I think it has like 143 horsepower. Comes with the optional roof rack that Saab came out with. California car, body straight, rust free. 4 previous owners that really took care of it. So when I got it, it had some issues that I took care of right away, but it's been super reliable, probably more reliable than my current daily that I drive right now. So just really love the car.
Oh, okay. And how was, you were telling me earlier about, the trip out to get it and everything. I drove into Orange County, California. This car was based in Santa Barbara, so we took like a coastal train all the way up the coast with my brother-in-law and myself. We met the gentleman at his house, picked up the car, immediately drove back, took the PCH, which is a scenic route going through California that really overlooks the ocean. So it was just a really cool, unique drive back to our hotel room in Orange County. And then on the way back, the car didn't have air at the time, so we drove late in the day, and it was like 117 degrees, and it was kind of a really hot, long drive back to Phoenix, Arizona. So. Oh yeah, and then a drive in it too.
Yes, so my phone overheated, didn't have a phone. I really couldn't contact my lead driver, which is my brother-in-law and my wife and his family. So kind of flicked the lights and, hey, I need to pull over, I'm getting hot. So after 3 hours, just took a break and got some beverages in me and water, and took a break and just kept going. But it was a great ride back, 0 issues with reliability. And these are just, I nicknamed it the tank because I literally had 0 issues with this car in 7 years.
Oh, wonderful.
I think 1 hose belt went on it, or 1 hose, and the alternator went. That's it after 7 years.
Oh, okay. So, and you said, I think your registration information said it has about 141,000 miles.
141 right now. Yep, 141. Which is probably low for the year. It sat for probably a couple years with a previous owner in California, but I probably drive it maybe 3,000 miles a year. It's just a weekend queen, or if I need to drive it for whatever reason. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So yeah, good to hear it's been reliable. And that's something I wanted to ask you. I think a lot of people have preconceived notions about older European cars, like for instance, Lotus, it's unreliable. I mean, what are some of the, misconceptions that people have about Saabs?
Sure. Big thing is repair shops.
They are scattered throughout the United States, but if you can find one or find a former Saab mechanic in your area, that would be great. These are very, if you're handy and you're mechanically inclined, these are very easy to work on. Everything's pretty much accessible in the engine. We still have availability of parts either through eBay or classified ads, or there's some dedicated businesses that are online that sell these parts. So very reliable, and we do have accessibility to parts, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, and you were telling me earlier that you even have, there's some 3D printed parts available. Yeah,
so mainly interior parts that a gentleman makes. Like I have a cup holder, that's a 3D cup holder for the car. There's seat belt items, or for your seats, like the levers and stuff like that, that can be made. There's even dash parts that are even made 3D. So yeah, anything that you need for this car is pretty much readily available. The only thing I had to custom make on this car was a fuel rail hose that's probably the only thing that was the most difficult thing, trying to find that used or from a junkyard. So I just grabbed some fuel hose and connected it, and it's good to go. So if you have an idea of, if you're handy, you can do things to this. That's not an issue.
Oh, that's good. And it sounds like before you got this, you grew up around them and you'd had a Saab before. So it sounds like, you knew what you were going into, but having owned this car for 7 years, what would you say is the biggest surprise about this particular model to you?
Biggest surprise, probably, again, reliability. I just didn't expect it to be this reliable. Again, hence the nickname, the tank. I mean, I regularly maintain it with oil changes and inspections, and it really hasn't needed anything else. So I expected maybe $1,000 a year on this car. It really hasn't come to that at all. So just really surprised on the price point on having this and maintaining it.
Oh, okay.
So very reliable, and probably in 7 years I've spent $3,000, and that's $1,000 of it is the clutch when I first got the car.
Oh, okay.
So that's, other than that, and that's a wear item. Everything's been a wear item in this car, so very low, maintenance on the car. Very low.
Yeah. Yeah, and has there been any, sort of pain point or like frustrating thing about this?
Honestly, no. Again, the fuel rail hose probably was the most frustrating. Just trying to find and source that. Other than that, everything's pretty much, readily available, or just my mechanic can find parts through another vendor that's based in Sweden that they have access to. So if we need anything, we can get it.
Oh, okay. And as far as parts, is there any sort of update or modification that you have in mind for the future of this car?
Currently, I'm almost to the end of repairing everything on it. It needs a headliner. The AC just needs to be recharged. Everything's been replaced new.
Nice.
It has a fuel issue in the rear. It might be a tank, but that's readily available. Just need to replace that. Other than that, maybe replace the front leather seats. They're a little bit worn, but other than that, it's good to go.
And I would imagine through, the variety of sources that are out there, there's probably a kit for that, or you can just take it to an upholstery shop, just get it redone.
Yeah, upholstery shop will just take down the headliner, comes out the trunk of the vehicle. It's just, remove and replace. The seats, you can do it yourself, but I'd rather have it done professionally, done right. But you can either get skins through an upholsterer, or L Seat has fairly good quality leather that's inexpensive that you can purchase. So that's an option too.
Oh, okay. All right. Sounds good. And one more thing I wanted to ask you. I mean, what is the general reaction when you're out driving this, outside of, fellow Saab owners? How do people perceive this car?
They just question it. They're like, what is it? First of all, because they really haven't seen it, especially since probably the 90s or late 80s when these first came out. They love the classic design. They love the paint, love the interior. We have a group that I belong to that we invite the public to for our meets. It's the Saab Club of Arizona, so I want to do a shout out for them. We have an annual meet usually in November or late October, so you can find us on Facebook, Saab Club of Arizona. And people that had these back in the past, they always kind of gravitate to our shows, or if we had another dedicated event, they just love seeing them. They're kind of rare, and that's why there's always an excitement for these cars. I think they're a little bit more rare that you see than maybe a Lotus or an older Alfa Romeo, let's say, or something along those lines. It's something that, you know, maybe, oh, my dentist had one back in the day, or my doctor, or my real estate agent, or whoever, you know. So just a unique car, and people just kind of get excited over seeing it.
Yeah, and when I saw that it was going to be here, I got excited too, because you don't see these around a lot, and like they're low key, but they still get your attention at the same time.
They do, and usually now the hood folds forward, so that's always a unique feature to the car. And people are like, what's going on here? The engine's mounted backwards, so that's another thing that people are like, what's going on here? So the transmission's mounted right underneath the engine, so that's another unique thing that Saab had or did back in the day. The key's in the middle of, on the floor. You need reverse to get the key out, so that's kind of unique to Saab.
So when you, let's say you take somebody for a ride in this car and they've never been in one before, and you start it up, what do they say when they see where the key is?
I've never seen this before. This is unique. This is crazy. I love it. You know, so they get excited, and you're like, oh my gosh, you know. So yeah, they want more rides in it. Like, let's go to a show, or let's do something else. So yeah, they get excited over it.
Can't blame them. Can't blame them. Well, thank you for this up close look at your car,
welcome.
And yeah, thank you for sharing the details on it.
I appreciate all your help on this.
Yeah, no problem. And I'd like to thank all of you for watching this look at the 1992 Saab 900S, owned by our new friend here, Brett Frantzen. Thanks for watching.
Guys, thanks so much for watching our video. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and comment down below your thoughts. Remember, if you want to collect a car of your own, check out our website at classiccars.com, which is our online marketplace with over 30,000 listings live on the site. Also, be sure to check out our sister website at autohunter.com, which is our 7-day online auction. Thanks again, and we'll see you guys in the next video.